Hello everyone, let me show you right off the bat why drawing clear boundaries between the program manager and the executive sponsor is one of the most critical governance lessons in your entire PgMP journey. When you look at the official study guide, the executive sponsor is formally defined as a senior leader within the organization who provides high-level financial support, strategic advocacy, and governance oversight to champion the program's success. Now, in very simple words, the executive sponsor is just like the wealthy owner of a racing team who buys the top tier sports car, secures the racing license, and provides the budget, while the program manager is the expert racing driver who gets behind the steering wheel, shifts the gears, and navigates the track to win the championship trophy. Think of it like this. I remember consulting for a massive healthcare firm years ago where a brand new executive sponsor thought his job was to micromanage the daily work packages, calling the lead engineers every single morning to ask about minor software bugs. The engineers were completely panicked because they had two bosses. We had to sit down and respectfully draw a clear boundary line. The sponsor owns the big picture budget and political shielding, while the program manager owns the day-to-day delivery and benefits realization. Let's dive deeper into how the executive sponsor protects your program from high-level corporate turbulence. According to the official study guide, the sponsor's role includes securing enterprise resources, resolving cross-organizational conflicts at the executive level, and shielding the program from political interference. In very simple words, your executive sponsor is like your personal bodyguard in the executive suite, stepping in to block budget cuts or department turf wars so you can focus entirely on delivering value with your team. Let me share a quick story with you. Years ago, I was managing a multi-million-dollar retail expansion program when a rival department head tried to steal half of our core engineering budget for a sudden internal project. As a program manager, I couldn't walk into the CEO's office and demand executive intervention without causing a political war. So I called my executive sponsor, explained the risk, and within an hour, my sponsor marched into the boardroom and shut that hostile takeover down completely. That is the magic power of a strong sponsor. Stay with me for a moment because knowing when to escalate to your sponsor is a major test on the exam. Now watch how this connects directly to the unique operational boundaries of the program manager. The official study guide states that the program manager is responsible for day-to-day leadership, component coordination, stakeholder engagement, and ensuring that program benefits are actively tracked and realized. In very simple words, the program manager is the captain on the deck of the ship every single day, checking the radar, managing the crew's workload, adjusting the sails, and making sure everyone is rowing in the exact same direction. Think of it like this. If a severe storm hits in the middle of the night, the ship's captain doesn't call the owner of the shipping company to ask which way to turn the steering wheel. The captain makes the tactical call based on their training and experience and only reports major strategic changes upward. Similarly, a program manager handles day-to-day obstacles with the team but brings critical scope or budget threshold exceptions to the sponsor for formal approval. That healthy boundary keeps decision making fast and efficient. Let's talk about the communication bridge and reporting rhythm between the program manager and the executive sponsor. According to the official study guide, maintaining a transparent and structured governance communication channel between the program manager and the sponsor ensures timely escalation of risks and continuous alignment with corporate strategy. In very simple words, setting up communication with your sponsor is just like setting up a dashboard in your car. You don't need to look under the hood every 5 seconds to check the spark plugs, but you do need a clear fuel gauge and a warning light so you know immediately if the engine is overheating. Think of it like this. Have you ever worked with a program manager who hid bad news from their sponsor until the very last second, hoping problems would magically fix themselves? That is a recipe for disaster. When I train enterprise managers, I teach them to establish a monthly executive briefing cadence focused purely on benefits realization, major milestone health, and strategic risks, never bogging down the sponsor with minor team drama. Stay with me for a moment because mastering this executive reporting rhythm builds unbreakable trust. Let's explore how to handle boundary friction when an executive sponsor accidentally steps into the program manager's territory. The official study guide emphasizes that clear role demarcation and mutual respect for governance boundaries are essential to prevent operational confusion and maintain team accountability throughout the program lifecycle. In very simple words, managing boundary friction is just like setting healthy rules with a friendly neighbor whose tree branches keep hanging over your fence. You gently and politely remind them of where the property line is so everyone stays happy and relaxed. Think of it like this. I remember working with a brilliant executive sponsor who loved software coding so much that she started emailing junior developers directly with new feature requests, completely bypassing the program manager's change control board. The developers didn't know whether to listen to the sponsor or their project lead. I pulled the sponsor aside over a friendly cup of coffee and said, "We love your passion and ideas, but when instructions bypass our governance workflow, it creates chaos for the team. Let's funnel all new ideas through our formal change request log so we can evaluate their strategic value together." She smiled, thanked me for the reality check, and never bypassed the channel again. Don't worry, we'll take it slow and look at how you handle these conversations with grace. So, now that we've mastered how to protect our boundaries with diplomacy, you might be wondering how to spot and crush exam questions testing the relationship between sponsors and managers. We have arrived at the final stretch of our journey on managing boundaries between the program manager and the executive sponsor. And let's tie it all together with a winning exam strategy. The official study guide highlights that exam questions regarding sponsors and program managers will test your understanding of governance authority, escalation paths, and the separation of strategic advocacy from tactical execution. In very simple words, this means whenever you see an exam scenario where a sponsor is interfering with daily work or a program manager is trying to make high-level budget decisions reserved for executives, your correct answer choice will always involve respecting the defined governance boundaries, escalating through proper channels, or realigning responsibilities according to the standard. Think of it like a professional sports referee. You always enforce the rulebook fairly and make sure players stay in their designated positions on the field.